We got a great episode for you. We're going to be talking about the One Chip Challenge because we got yet another update on that. Hey, we've been watching some interesting things. The Colorado Avalanche put out the new reverse retro jersey, so there's going to be some thoughts on that. WWE, some other basic usual topics. And hey, one of us almost ended up serving on a jury. Find out who very shortly. You're in a good place. Welcome to the episode.
In a world where every Rob, Steve, and Lane has a podcast, two good brothers will try to rise above the rest. Howard Blues and the Mark Kidder invite you to pour a cold beverage, pull up a seat, and enjoy time with friends. Welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast that's an Algonquin roundtable on Tuesdays and a bingo parlor on Thursdays. I'm your host, Howard Blues, here, as always, with my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder. Kidder, how you doing this weekend?
Color me confused, I guess. I don't know why we gotta change things up. I mean, you might as well do something like Monday through Friday and then have it on the weekend, switch it up. Why is it Tuesdays and Thursdays?
It just seemed like the most comedically appropriate thing I could say.
Oh.
It's going for the laughs. I was hoping for genuine laughs.
Oh, I mean, that's pretty genuine. It's genuinely crazy.
Hey, special, different, interesting episode. Mostly because, hey, we're recording in the middle of the afternoon instead of our usual late at night time. So it's different. It's interesting. It's a Saturday. That's weird. So, yeah. Huh. So, Kidder, we're like halfway through the weekend. How's it going? Has it been good,
No. No. We should have done this last night. Not that doing this now is any better or worse than what it would have been last night. It's just instead of what I was roped into required to be doing last night, this would have been better to start off my weekend better. So here we are.
Kidder, I know you were doing stuff last night, which is part of why we're recording today. If it makes you feel better, I ended up like burning the hell out of my thumb. You see that white on there? That's a blister. So, yeah.
That's what you get for playing with fire ants, I guess.
No, it's more of, hey, I'm taking this hot pan out of the stove. See Junior run into the room. Hey, Junior, stay back. Wouldn't want you to, get there, damn,
Great.
Yeah.
Way to take one for the kids.
Yep. For the kids.
It's for the kids, man. It's for the kids.
It's for the kids. So that's between that and the fact that Lefty's working nights, so I'm on kid duty. It's it's almost kind of depressing, Kidder. It's 3:00 in the afternoon, and I'm like, where did my day go? I have spent the whole time just with them. This is like the first me thing I have done all weekend.
Well, I'm happy to help make it happen.
Mm-hmm. And hey, since we're doing that, you know what, Kidder?
we got to clear our throats, and we're thirsty.
I was going to say, we've had a rough start to this weekend, kind of like this transition. Maybe it's just time for us to get to everybody's favorite segment. Find out what's on tap.
I suppose it is somebody's favorite. I think, it's Lane's favorite segment, but he never watches this show anymore. So is it really his favorite segment?
I'm kind of tempted to start putting up a days without Lane counter, like at the top of all of our episodes.
Yeah, I'll be all right.
So you just have to find out. Well, I think you said in a recent episode the last time that he maybe watched something.
Yeah, it's been a while. And he hasn't even commented on the pizza. We started talking about pizza at work one day, and then I said, you know what? We had a whole 45 minutes on that. But you wouldn't know, would you? He's like, what? Yeah, we talked about pizza for 45 minutes or so. Oh. Lane, where are you? Do we need to call in Scooby-Doo?
You know, he's got to have an annual review coming up here pretty soon. You know?
Yep.
Things you could improve on. Watch more Triple B.
Mm-hmm. And that ranks pretty high on the scale of pretty much everything. I mean, work performance is pretty much 0 if you're not watching any of these episodes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, technically, wouldn't this consist of like professional development? I mean, this is clearly a showcase of how not to put a show together.
It could be. If you put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Put it some way.
We're a cautionary tale. So,
speaking of cautionary,
yeah,
I just downed an order of Taco Bell. I wasn't going to say Taco Bell. I downed an order of American Mexican food and some fire sauce and a Coke. So this is going to go well. It's good that you have a hard out at 5 because it might end earlier than that.
Yeah, we'll have to see. So what are you following that scrumptious fast food meal and Coca-Cola with? What's the chaser?
Oh. Apparently clearing my mucus out of my esophagus. You know, I think we're getting into the festive season. So, I don't know, this is the first one I grabbed, I guess. So let's do this. Shall we? Orion, help me pick this one out here. It's the old chub. Oscar Blues Brewery. It's a Scotch ale. It's 8% alcohol by volume and 12 fluid ounces. And man, that can brought me right to it. It's an old chub. It's a big chub. New chub. It's what?
I was going to say, it's what drew my attention and why I had it on the show, many episodes ago. But yeah, I'll be glad to see what you think of it.
Well, it's shiny. It's brewed and canned by Oscar Blues Brewery, LLC, in not 1, not 2, but 3 different American locations, including Longmont, Colorado, Brevard, North Carolina, and Austin, Texas. And yes, the Ball Corporation bringing you this colorful painted on aluminum. It's so shiny you can't focus. Holy shit. All right, whatever. Let's put her in the old Fighting Sioux North Dakota Yeti. Yeti! I also don't know why the KRDN Eyewitness News 8 weather stream isn't pulling up on the old background monitor to give us a little bit of something to watch. Because it is online. You can also watch that on YouTube. Just, go to YouTube and search KRDN Eyewitness Weather Now. And you would not get a black screen, but a classy weather stream. And while you're there, like and subscribe to this show. Because watching and sharing and caring helps us keep going. By the way, Howard, we only need another, I want to say, 1,925 or so subscribers until we can start making money on YouTube and get our half-cent per view.
I thought we only had to get to 1,000.
Oh, maybe it's 1,000. All right. So 900 and 24-ish. If we hit 2,000, I mean, that would be all right, too. Cheers. It's got a nice scent to it. Oh, that's thick. Mm-hmm. Nice roasty flavor to it. Got that actual Scotch ale taste instead of that shit I had a few weeks ago that claimed to be a Scotch ale. That was like an IPA in disguise. That was terrible. Mm-hmm. This one, I'll enjoy drinking one of these. Mm-hmm. You were saying about our subscribers and making money.
I forget where I was going with it. Just the fact that I think we're sitting at like 76. I mean, we've been pretty consistent on the people joining and liking the content. So that's good. And I'm kind of stalling. I'm waiting for Google, Kidder. I was like, oh, you know what? While Kidder does all of this, I'll pull up the Local Geeks drink spreadsheet, and I can tell you exactly then which episode I had Old Chub on. It is still loading. It is still loading.
Tell you what, while you talk about it, I got you.
Oh, you're gonna look it up? Okay. Well, Kidder, what I'm having tonight, I was just looking to see which episode it was that I had it on.
Episode 28.
I was so close. I got to about 24 before I 28. Old job. I said that's
quote.
Go for it.
Say your own quote then.
No, you got it. You got
what
it.
are we doing? How do we do this in the afternoon? I'm not drunk enough for this shit. What is this? He said, quote, and then I got the scotch. No, that's not what he said. He said, quote, that's pretty good. Not too bitter. Nice, smooth taste to it. Thanks, Local Geek, for getting that direct quote.
Yeah. Anyway, Kidder, since it is the afternoon, and since I'm on kid duty this weekend, I tend not to drink just in case something were to ever happen. I don't want to get into a vehicle after consuming a beverage. Safety first. So I'm drinking, Kidder, something that I always, I like to talk about because it just has never really taken off, but I really enjoy these. I have a Coca-Cola with coffee. I have the caramel flavored one. Basically, it's what do we got here on the can? Great Coca-Cola taste blended with rich, luxurious coffee. 70 calories per can. That's, really all you need to know. So, I enjoy these a lot, Kidder. They're kind of my favorite, afternoon sipping beverage. It's one of those things. I've gotten hooked on them. I like them. They're not quite as sweet as a Coke, but they're not as bitter as coffee. Although I will say, I only really drink the caramel ones. Any of the other flavors are just kind of like, ugh. So that's what I have on tap. So I'll enjoy this.
All right. Interestingly enough, we have represented. Well, let's see. Doing math, that would be 28 states. Because Local Geek says we have not represented 22 states. Yes.
Yeah, we're a little behind on some of our state representation, I guess, which means we need to travel more, Kidder. But hey, in more exciting and important news, Kidder, you know how I kind of follow which states have listened or have had listeners to the podcast?
Yeah.
We finally picked up Montana. We've had some downloads from the great state to our west. So, woohoo. We get to check Montana off, bringing us down to, I think there's only now 7 states that we haven't had a listener from. So doing well in that. Yeah. Other than that, California's been at the top of that leaderboard for downloads. So take that as you will.
I think we might need some extra viewership then from California. Let's see. I mean, there's enough people down there, so you'd think that we could get a few more people. But
Mhm.
it was a good month in the shop too, because if you put the code in, you put the code Howard in, you get 20% off. It's still running that, just in time for the holidays, and a lot of stuff happening on the store, right, Howard?
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I've been meaning, Kidder, to ask you how long that code is going to last, because I've been meaning to get on there and purchase myself a "It's Been a Week" shirt, because damn it, it's been my slogan. I figure I should sport a shirt. So I need to do that yet while the code is still hot.
It's true. It's true. And I'm trying to look for two different things. Number one, as I restarted my browser, because updates are important, it cleared out my rundown. So I got to reopen that. But also, as that is now opening, I can pull up the sheet over here. It's the sheet for the back end of the store. Let's see. What can we find on here? Hey, we can even protect our designs. All right.
Because I'm sure everybody's clamoring to steal those.
I mean, maybe the It's Been a Week one, right?
Yeah.
So how generous are you feeling? Let's ask that first. How generous are you feeling for this promo code, Howard?
I'm feeling pretty generous. Also, because I know that the episode where the promo code debuts is not out yet. So,
right.
Might want to give it a while so that can land and give people some time.
Or are you thinking, let's just say November 31st, like, done with Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all that? Or are you thinking done with Christmas, or just until next year?
Well, I think we should at least go through, the whole Black Friday. That'd be pretty generous, I think.
How does January 3rd, 2023 sound?
Sounds like happy birthday to my dad. As a great gift, we end our discount code.
Because he is such a cheap bastard and will never see this show. Congratulations! We end the code on your birthday. He's not really a cheap bastard, but he'll never watch this show, so I got half of it right.
Yeah, he would have turned off on What's on Tap as soon as I pulled out a Coke with coffee.
What the hell kind of shit is this?
It's
kind of about that line.
It'd be more like, well, they're not talking guns this episode. Click. Speak.
So Howard, for the protecting our stuff, we can subscribe now, 50% off, $9.99 per month to protect our profits.
It once we start having some real serious profits, we can talk about it.
We safeguard our brand with automated searches and the real-time email alerts of potential infringements. You can take action.
I think we're good.
Yeah, probably. All right. Well, as for the analytics, not too bad in September. So thanks for joining us through the September months. Appreciate all of you, as in the local geek. Thanks for purchasing your pint glasses. They're available at beardbluesbs.com. Click on merch. Now that we have some of the cheap plugs out of the way, I understand that you might have an event coming up that you're probably not looking forward to. Am I wrong?
Actually, it's come and gone already, kidder.
Whoa, that's how far behind we are.
Well, it's not so much how far. I didn't bring up when I got summoned to jury duty because it was for the federal court, which means that, when you get summoned or placed on jury duty, your like window that you could be summoned is like September through December. It's like a whole quarter. So it was nothing worth really bringing up. But yep, I had to report to the federal courthouse on Tuesday. And I was one of 31 potential jurors and such. It's interesting, Kidder. I've only ever been called for county court. And even then, I only ever made it to jury selection once. So this was kind of interesting. Had to go through security, then basically sit in this room. They make you watch a video from like 1995 that explains the selection process and kind of what your role is as a juror. So, it's one of those, like, it started playing and like you could just tell from like the cameras and the clothing. I'm like, this was done in like the mid 90s. And so, at the end, it's like copyright 1995. I'm like, called it. It was a 90s informational film. I mean, it was that. And then we got into the courtroom and they called up, I think it was like 24, 25 of us to answer questions and go through that. I got lucky. I was one of like the early ones called. So I got a nice comfy chair in the jury box. Some of the later numbers, you had to sit in the like wooden pew-like benches. So, but they brought us into the courtroom it was like 9:45, and jury selection went until about noon. So it was a long process. It was an interesting process. The case sounded totally fascinating, Kidder. Totally fascinating. I wanted to hear it. It happened up on the Fort Berthold Reservation and consisted of assault with a deadly weapon. But what this weapon is kind of led to the question of, was it truly a deadly weapon? Because the prosecutor, in some of his questioning of the jurors, was like, if I use this pen and attacked you with it, could you consider that a deadly weapon? Which just tells me that, the actual weapon that was going to be revealed in the trial was probably something along those lines, something you wouldn't normally expect as a weapon. So it involved, supposedly an affair, drug use, alcohol use. I was riveted. However, Kidder, I have too many friends who are cops and was not selected.
Are you sure that it wasn't just an episode of court TV?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I got to spend half a day at jury duty, basically going through selection, and then was one of the vast majority of people who was not selected and got to go back to work. So it's interesting, Kidder. Everybody jokes about not wanting to serve on jury duty, but man, the 2 times that I've made a jury selection, I've just been like, I want to hear the case. I'm intrigued. I wouldn't mind serving on a jury once. You
should watch more court TV.
That's not the same.
Pretty much
not the same. Not the same.
I had to do that for district court a couple years ago. I got called for jury duty, and the trial went. The problem with it, I had to work that afternoon. They didn't care. Like when I got there at 8:00 in the morning, I asked the bailiff to give a note to the state's attorney and say, hey, got to work later. Not going to be an impartial juror on this. Can I be in the pool to be excused right away? No, I had to sit through the whole stupid process and await the full selection of the jury to then be excused with everybody else. Waste of time. Not a fan.
Yeah. And it's interesting because there were people who were clearly like, yeah, I don't want to be here. But when they asked, like, anybody not want to be here? Nobody, nobody said that, or voiced that concern. It was just, and it was interesting. The judge asked if anybody had, is there anything that, like a conflict that anybody has? And like one little old lady's like, well, Thursday morning I was going to leave for a family get together. The judge was like, well, we're going to still be going Thursday morning, but I think we got enough people. You're excused.
Yep.
It's like
that could have happened to me because there were 3 pools of jurors summoned for that case that I was summoned for. And as you know, each pool of jurors is 12 jurors. So there's 36 people who were summoned to go through to find 12. And really? But it's part of the judicial system. Now here's the part that bothers me about that, right? So you go through this whole process, essentially a dog and pony show from start to finish. And you find the person guilty of whatever crime they were committed. Beyond a reasonable doubt, they have been convicted of that crime. Then it turns to sentencing and all the months and months and months, or potentially years of drug out court BS. They get like probation or they get a month in jail. I just saw a case where somebody murdered his brother. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison, not life because it was murder. 20 years, but 10 of those years were suspended. So realistically, if he's good, because, he only murdered somebody. If he's good, he can be in prison for 10 years and be let out and go do it again. Cool. So without getting extremely political and going off the rails, because I could, I'm not going to do that today and just say, think about that. Now let's continue on.
Yeah, let's maybe switch to something not controversial, like wrestling. There's never been controversy in wrestling. It's just clean, good, old, wholesome family entertainment.
Scripted entertainment, yes. So there's a couple things that transpired this week there, Howie Blues. Let's start in the double E category. First of all, Baron Corbin returned. He's now on Monday Night Raw. And it looks like he will be managed by JBL. First of all, just that. How do you feel about that?
I have heard some other commentators talk about this, so I did hear about this. I'm fine with it. I never had a problem with Baron Corbin when he first started, and I watched him in NXT, and I thought he was great in NXT. So this is kind of a return to that character. He's back to Baron Corbin, not Happy Corbin or Sad Corbin. It's back to being Baron Corbin, and probably, hopefully, back to being a contender. So, and putting him with JBL, that will hopefully help him move to kind of that next level. Have a little bit of the polish rub off and give him a chance.
couple things about it, the segment. First of all, JBL, I don't know what kind of tailor made his suit, but it looked like a kid wearing his dad's suit. It was kind of comical, and it bothered me. Just bothered me. It detracted and distracted me from the segment a little bit. Second of all, he is, as you said, Baron Corbin, so a plus, a step in the right direction. And he's back to, I guess you could say, more of his older ring attire and look. So that's fine. What he's not back to is his awesome music. One of the best themes in WWE. In fact, I'll put it in my top 10 ever. No, he's still got some garbage ass music that still is like Happy Corbin. But he's not Happy Corbin. Why? Yeah, it's trash. I hate it.
I think they'll come around to changing it. They've never been fast. Like on that, it's almost like, and I would almost guess this is what happens. I'm guessing creative comes up with the direction like, okay, we're going to bring him back where he's going to be this Corbin and all of that. All right, that's great. We'll get that going. The sound department doesn't get like the note until like they were watching Monday Night Raw. There's probably a sound engineer who's in there going, eating his popcorn, watching the show, and then be like, oh, damn it. And now he has to go out and make that happen. Whether it's a new song or dusting the old, the dust off the old one. And this was still good, So
open the other folder of old music, drag it over. There you go. We're ready now. Yeah, it'd be nice if they figured it out.
Yeah.
Please figure it out. Stop screwing with our emotions.
Yeah, I will say, Kidron, I didn't know if you were going to get to this. One of the commentators did bring up the interesting thing. If they're bringing him back, they're going to give him a push. They're going to give him a run. They're going to try and make him big. And to launch this new take on Baron Corbin, his first match, Dolph Ziggler. And like in a 15-minute long match. It wasn't a squash match. It wasn't like a beatdown. It was a 15-minute. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people said it was a good match. Others just kind of put, it's a Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler. I think it's kind of people are tired of those two. Like, just nothing has ever really happened with them. And I think there's some fatigue on Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin.
They hate each other so much that they just keep wrestling each other. No special matches, no final point to anything in the feud, no raising the stakes. Just here's another match.
Yeah, nothing to it yet. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. This could be good. It could be bad. We'll find out.
Yeah, could be good, could be bad. Let's go for the good. And another good thing, day one pay-per-view premium live event. Ego is out of here. We're done with that. We don't have to worry about that again. So that's very nice. Yeah.
I mean, I would be okay if the WWE decided to cut back a little bit on the premium events. I think they could. And allow for some of their storylines to build and get a little bit hotter before you're having these matches. Because I think sometimes they haven't really built them up, to a level that deserves it. I mean, you look at the Seth Rollins, Matt Riddle match from Extreme Rules, it's getting praised fairly heavily because it was built up. There was story behind it. There was, it had built itself to needing this big match to blow it off. And so if they can do more of that, I think that they'll be in good hands and in a good place story-wise. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's continue on with all of that. Apparently, also is at the special type events, i.e., Extreme Rules, Hell in a Cell. They're supposedly dialing back on those. So that would be good. Do those, I don't know, together. Make it more interesting. I don't know.
Hell in a Cell was always more interesting when a feud had gotten to that point. It became far less interesting when it's like, well, we're at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, so we're going to have 3 of those. It in feuds that oftentimes hadn't earned that match. They weren't ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a match that really should be this is the penultimate. We're at this point. It is going here, and only one person's going to win. The other person's probably going to leave broken,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with some of those stipulations that have become pay-per-views just going back to being stipulations and used far less frequently. And where they matter.
Are you just wanting the Punjabi prison to come back?
No, because that was never good. Surprised they didn't make that a pay-per-view.
Don't give them any ideas. We replace Hell in a Cell with the Punjabi prison pay-per-view premium live event.
That's when they start doing their live premium events over in India. That's when that one will show up.
12 wrestlers get arrested. Only 6 make it out alive. Wait, that got dark pretty quick. Yeah. How do you feel about all the new talent coming back? Or not even coming back, but and new talent. There's new talent and then there's old talent returning. How do you feel on that?
I'm okay with it. I think that there were some of these folks who kind of just got an unfair shake. The whole not a Vince guy, or as a lot of people write, the old regime's idea of a champion or things like that. And the sad thing is that you have some very talented folks who just because they don't meet the look, even though they can put on fantastic matches, they work their asses off, they were never going to get a shot. I mean, we have seen, it's almost, I'm surprised nobody's ever dubbed it the NXT curse. You start off NXT, you get red hot, you show and prove that you're this excellent talent, then you go up to the main roster and they just kill you. I mean, you can name more people who were champions on NXT who have been let go by the company than people who actually were on NXT and have so far succeeded on the main roster. It's, and it's sad because, as I said, you got some real talented folks. I mean, let's not forget, FTR was amazing in NXT. FTR comes up to the main roster and gets some of the, especially once they asked for the release, some of the worst stuff that they were asked to do, and now they're with a different company and thriving and everybody's cheering them. They have all the titles. It's,
they have 3 tag team championships from 3 different promotions. And it's not even AEW, the show that their main promotion who they work for.
Yeah, so you can have these, this fantastic talent that is just totally wasted. So I'm hoping that this is kind of rectifying that and allowing some of this talent to come back, breathe some new life into the show, because I think that we've been talking about, there is a talent shortage within WWE. I mean, when the women's tag team titles got vacated because Sasha Banks and Naomi walked off, they're like, "Oh, we'll do a tournament," and they didn't even have enough talent to do a tournament in the women's division. I mean, they need.
And the ones who were in it, they either kept getting injured or something else happened where they couldn't take part in it, and so they were throwing teams together for no reason, just to fill it.
Yeah, so I'm okay with some of this talent coming back, and hopefully we're getting to see some fresh matchups, some different matchups, and such, and hopefully some different storytelling as well with some of these guys coming in. So, so far I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm. Very good. I like it too. It's pretty fresh now because there's a lot of people who either weren't on or had shown up and you'd heard about them because they were on NXT or something, and so they're somewhat familiar. So it is kind of nice because there's actually people and matches and some storylines, and they're starting to try and get them to be a little bit better. They brought the one writer over who used to work for the Marvel universe, and so maybe there's a little bit more cinematic writing going on that will help to create more arcs for characters and feuds. That, of course, is if he can get through the, what do we say? There were 75 different writers for WWE. So, I mean, if he or she can get on board and then push the creative level to that decency, then good. I hope that it works.
Yeah, I think you'll see some of that. I mean, I've already seen some good stuff. I mean, now that they kind of are doing the Judgment Day versus the OC, I mean, that's bringing some storylines in, and storylines and such that people have wanted to see. You know, they've been hinting at Finn Balor and his history with the OC for years. And now it's like, hey, they're finally pulling the trigger and doing something with it. I mean, I know everybody wants him to join the OC and have that as a faction, but at least they're doing something with it. So, and again, also using these talent elsewhere. I mean, the Good Brothers made an appearance on NXT. So, you know, I think you're going to see some of that and see some people showing up on NXT for different bits. So I really think that they're in a good spot creatively at the moment.
And a lot of them have been showing up on NXT, and some of, as we saw in the last Premium Live event, some of the NXT stars are showing up at WWE main roster events. So they're trying to do the cross promotion a little bit of, you know, which should have been done all along instead of treating them as complete separate companies or entities. Like, yes, they are separate and they work independently. However, how many times, let's just put it as this way, working with an agency, do you work with other agencies that are part of a larger agency? It just makes sense, right?
It does. Well, and it can help build stars. You talk about Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn took off in NXT after he wrestled 3 just incredible matches with Cesaro, who was on the main roster. You know, Cesaro versus Sami Zayn at TakeOver was an amazing match and helped to build Sami Zayn and build a following, and people really got behind him after that, you know. So it can help, and it can help legitimize these guys who a lot of times, you know, if all you ever follow is Raw and SmackDown and you don't watch NXT, you might go, who is this guy? You know, it helps. It helps.
I kind of do that, and I'm like, isn't this person so and so? I had know nothing about them.
Yeah,
but you know, with watching WWE products and then watching the AEW product, and then watching the Premium Live events, and then watching the pay-per-views, it's just a lot. I was thinking when we got together for the last premium live event that I wish Sunday Night Heat, which of course it wouldn't be Sunday anymore, but they could still call it Heat or call it Velocity. As you remember, they had both of those shows as the developmental show, which now NXT would fit in. Put it the hour before the pay-per-view. I loved that because then you can have your promotions and your lead up to the pay-per-view or the premium live event, but you're still getting matches and you're introducing talent to people who otherwise would not be introduced to them.
Yeah, I don't know that you're ever going to get that back.
I know. But if I was in charge...
I think part of it is that they just produce a product. It's up to the TV networks to actually run it. So they could create that product. I mean, I think they still do Main Event as a show. I think it only airs on Peacock, which is serving that Sunday Night Heat sort of kind of role, but it doesn't make it to TV because the networks don't have a spot for it. So, yeah, it's, it is what it is. I don't think you're ever going to get back to that. I just wish they'd maybe use the kickoff a little bit more like, that. Because again, why are you doing a kickoff? It used to get people fired up about the matches that are coming up. I get that. But, if people are already following WWE, they're already aware of all of that. You could use that kickoff spot, even if you just used it to showcase, put an NXT match on the kickoff. Hey, here's our, up and coming talent getting a shot, to go on, get people introduced that way. I mean, I could see that working instead of taking sometimes a match that's like on the main card and going, well, you're the kickoff. Because boy, have we seen some of those where like the kickoff match is almost better than some of the stuff on the main card. So, but we'll see.
Or even worse, because you remember the El Torito, was it Hornswoggle? No. You remember what I'm talking about, right? He was the little bull character and somebody else, and they had that on the kickoff, and I'm like, why is this a thing? Why? Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm sure that there will be more changes to be made. I think, I would be more concerned if like Triple H had changed everything just right out the gate. I think that would have been too jarring for people. Yeah. I think he's slowly making the changes and improvements, and I'm okay with that, and I think we'll see more. I think it's only going to get better. So,
speaking of getting better, a health update as we transition over to the AEW world. I don't know if you got to see this or heard of it, but earlier this week, as in on Tuesday, Dynamite, the main event for the... no, it wasn't for the title. It was just a match, I believe. But it was Jon Moxley and Hangman Adam Page in the main event. During the match, in fact, I don't know at one point in the match, but there were about 7 minutes left of the show. And Moxley and Hangman ended up trading blows, and they go to the opposite turnbuckles, and Mox comes in with the King Kong lariat, the giant close arm or arm bar, not arm bar. I'm having a very tough time describing things today. The clothesline from hell, King Kong lariat thing that Moxley does, and smoked Hangman, and he was basically out, just hit the mat and was out. Ref immediately went over, checked on him, recognized lights are on, nobody's home, and called the match. The health crews came out, the trainers, the doctor, and the EMTs. They ended up putting him on a longboard, which is perfect for any potential neck injury or head injury. Stabilized him, put him on a stretcher, and hauled him out, took him to the hospital to get checked. It was officially just a concussion, but he got his bell rung pretty bad. Don't know of any residual problems that will be from the concussion, but it's something to kind of keep in mind as Hangman's future is there for the next 3 to 6 months. If he's still shaking out those cobwebs that are now loose in his head from when he got his bell rung, or if there's any other lasting residuals. But he's okay. He sent out a message that he's okay and that he would be back at one point to try and regain the AEW championship. And I do believe, as I keep thinking, I do believe it was for the AEW world title. Partially because they had 6 minutes to fill. Moxley got on the microphone and talked about thanking the people and that this is professional wrestling and it is dangerous, and they get out there and they put everything on the line and injuries happen and stuff, and he wishes all prayers and wishes to make sure that that Hangman would make a full recovery and that he'd be okay for his kids and whatnot. So a nice gesture for Mox to do that, but then also the crowd in Cincinnati, which is John Moxley's hometown, also chanted, get well soon, or chanted Hangman's name. So thoughts with Hangman, and hope that he does well, because of course I was at the show where he won his first world title.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he makes a quick recovery and a full recovery. And you know what? He should take some comfort. He doesn't play for the Miami Dolphins. It's not like they're going to put him out next week to get his bell rung a second time. Just saying. Just throw that out there.
There's something to be said about, having your defense actually do something.
Yeah, that too. I don't even
watch football.
I know we've talked like football twice now, like in a month. People are like, what's happened to them? They clearly jumped the shark.
Sports, what?
Yeah.
The only sport that we actually care about is hockey, damn it. The only sport on the planet.
Yeah, and we'll get to some hockey, but Kidder, I do have to ask you, and I know this is a bit of a sore subject, but I was listening to some wrestling news last night while we weren't recording, as I was cleaning up after dinner, and it sounds like the rumors are, the talks are, Ace Steel has been released from AEW for his role in the altercation. But the other kind of bigger news is that it sounds like AEW is in talks with CM Punk to buy out the remainder of his contract. So it might be the end of CM Punk in AEW.
Well, I know from what we've seen and heard over the past 7 years that CM Punk's biggest issues in WWE were related to Vince McMahon and the medical treatment. And now that there's a different regime, and I don't even believe that primary doctor is with the company anymore, that might open some doors. So yeah, he's burned bridges everywhere. I still feel that press conference was a setup, somewhat scripted. I don't believe he was out there shooting as much as it's been made out to be. I think that a lot of it was supposed to be a work, and I think that the other people involved took it way too far because their egos were bruised. And I mean, if Punk gets fired because of it, I think the other 3 or 4 of them should be fired as well.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen, and I don't know that it was a work. From everything I've heard, and it's
Howard's doing his research this week.
Well, Howard listens to a lot of news and commentary on it, and I've been trying to follow on this one because it's an important story. It's interesting. I know a lot of people blame Tony Khan for not shutting down the press scrum and kind of letting it boil over, but you have to admit, CM Punk has been the biggest star in AEW since he joined that roster. He's had some very good matches. He has definitely brought people's attention to AEW. If CM Punk would never have joined AEW, Kidder, I can guarantee you wouldn't be watching it. You wouldn't have gone to Full Gear. He's clearly brought some people to the table, and that's great. But I do think that he probably went a bit too far, and he probably shouldn't have thrown the first punch, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. The other part of this is, it sounds like, like part of buying him out might be the fact that the locker room is against him at the moment. And so, it's a whole, we don't want to cause more problems in the locker room. And who knows, he is injured. So it could be that when he returns, they're able to smooth things out and maybe even turn this whole thing into an angle and make an excellent match out of it. We'll see. As I said, this is all kind of rumors and speculation and a lot of talk and nothing confirmed. Could he go back to WWE? Very possibly. I'm sure he wouldn't necessarily want to do the whole schedule. I think you would see him kind of on the Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar sort of contract, which would be fine too, but we'll see. It sounds like there's a pretty hefty no compete clause as part of this buyout. So it's a question of he either sits for 2 years and does nothing, or even if he takes the buyout, he's not able to compete for quite a while. So, and Punk is up there in age, so how much longer does he, want to do this, and how much longer can his body hold out, so is he willing to put 2 years on hold for this? So we'll see. A lot still. As I said, this news was just kind of breaking last night, so I'm sure we'll know more and hear more in the weeks to come, but I just wanted to throw it out there. So,
yeah. And the fact that that he's on the shelf with the torn pectoral, that's time away anyway, and so he has to work through that, rehab through that. So that's at least another, 7 months or so. Yeah. Whatever.
We'll see. But hey, you mentioned hockey, so let's let's make a quick swerve, a quick lane change, and talk some hockey, and maybe we'll talk positive hockey because last night hockey did not go our way. The Avs lost to the Kraken, so that sucked. And then I don't know how, Kidder, because I didn't watch it because I didn't want to give us the curse.
Oh, it was terrible.
I do know we were in the lead for 2 periods, and I don't know how we blew it, but we lost to the friggin' Gophers. So
last minute and a half of the game, the Gophers scored. And then about 35, 40 seconds into overtime, shit defense, quick play, back of the net, game's over in overtime. Absolute trash. Pissed me off. I was annoyed. And then I saw the score on the bot because in the ticker, because I wasn't able to watch both games at that point. In the ticker, I see that the Avs were down 2 to the Kraken, and I said, "What the hell? How?" Like I know that it is Dave Hackstall, head coach of the Seattle Kraken, formerly of your Fighting Sioux, the guy that kept going to the ball but was never chosen for the championship. Almost made it. But the Kraken, the hell?
Hey, it could have been worse. It could have been the Wild. The Wild finally won a game, Kidder.
I saw that.
They finally won a game.
They had to squeak to overtime, but they won it.
Yeah, beat the Canucks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know I was listening to some commentary on their take on the whole thing, and they were excited. They've been really down on their goalies, which is sad because they took Marc-Andre Fleury, and because of that, lost Cam Talbot. But they've really been digging hard on Fleury with that. Mm-hmm. But they've been really concerned about this whole non-winning streak. Although I will say, one commentator did make the comment that they probably should have beat the Avs, and I was kind of like, "What? No."
They can think that, but no, they should not have. Yeah. The Avs play the Vegas Golden Knights tonight, and of course, game 2 with the Gophers and Sioux. We'll see what happens. And then next week already is the Hall of Fame game in Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena. And of course, by the time this episode is released, we'll know what happens all along the way. So there's that. Also wanted to share that even in Bismarck, the Tribune, yes, the local paper, can get some things right occasionally. Let's do it again. Yeah. Now, granted, this article is from the Associated Press, and the Tribune did not actually write it. It's interesting because they actually put it in the paper. So, there it is. Thanks. Gee, I don't see the Wild holding one of those above their head. Ever. Right, because they've never won a cup.
Yeah. But, Kidder, this is all, great addition to our run sheet, which had nothing to do with this. You wanted to talk about the new reverse retro jersey.
I had to share it. Have you seen them yet from the league? Have you seen the new repertoire of jerseys?
I have not seen all of them. I have seen the Avs reverse retro jersey. And I have thoughts, Kidder. I have some thoughts.
You go first because, I have my thoughts too.
I'm just going to say last year when the league did this reverse retro jersey thing, and we did the Nordiques logo and look, I mean, that was a work of art, and I was very tempted if my budget would have allowed to have purchased myself one because excellent, very well done. Loved it. This year's reverse retro from the Avs, I'm not excited by it. I'm not thrilled by it. Doesn't do anything for me.
Well, here's the thing, because last year I loved that design, even though it was white. It was freaking awesome. I tried to buy one. The time they went on sale, they were sold out. How are you sold out when it goes on sale? Or when you pre-order? A pre-order means that, okay, we're going to take these orders and then we will make them. You couldn't even do that. I couldn't get the knockoff version. I couldn't get the full authentic version. I couldn't get a named version. Really? Did you make 10 of them? What is your problem? And now there's going to be this design this year, which is garbage. In fact, on every post that I've seen it, I have put the effort into telling them that it's gross. They don't care, obviously, but it's gross. I hate it. It's apparently like the Colorado Rockies or the Colorado state flag or a mix of the two. Great. However, you have fans elsewhere, and you also have fans who have taste. The thing with it, the colors, they're in the state flag, they're the state colors, but they're not Avs colors. So that bothers me too. Most of the other jerseys, great. If I were a fan of those teams, I'd be pretty happy. But this, it's a waste of a design. In fact, we were talking about it at work, and one of my coworkers was talking about why do they even have all these other jerseys and all this other stupidity. You get your jersey, there's your jersey for the year. You get one at home and one away. Leave it alone. That's for all the sports. Sure.
Yeah. So this reverse retro, I looked it up here, Kidder, because I knew it is based off of the Colorado Rockies, not the baseball team, but there was a team in Colorado and in Denver before. They had started as the Kansas City Scouts in 1974. They were there until 1976, in which case they moved to Denver. So they were the Rockies, the Colorado Rockies, from 1976 to 1982, when again they would move. And Kidder, here's a little trivia for you. What team are they now?
I think I knew at one point. I don't remember.
They are the New Jersey Devils. So here's the thing. Like, the Nordiques one makes sense, right? Because our Colorado Avalanche were originally the Quebec Nordiques. Makes sense. That's in our history. This is creating a reverse retro jersey that's in the past of another team.
Who we're competing against.
Yeah. So, and their colors were blue, red, gold, and white. So, Future Howard has probably put up a photo of that along with the reverse retro for those of you who are checking us out on YouTube so that you can see what it is we're talking about. You know, so that was kind of my take on it, Kidder, is, yeah, I'm not a fan of this one, which is okay. I can now save my money and spend it on something else.
Yeah. Save it for next year's reverse retro because, you know, they've done it 2 years in a row. So why wouldn't they do it another third year? A lot of the comments that I saw were also, why is it white? Why does it have to be white? Why is every special jersey they have made, aside from the military appreciation jerseys, been white? Stop making white jerseys.
I'm going to guess that they make it in white because I think they use them at a home game because they do play in them. And so usually when they play at home, their jersey is white.
Color, because this is the NHL.
Oh, is it?
Uh-huh. In the collegiate, they play white at home. And the color is the away team. In the NHL, the color jerseys are almost always the home jersey.
The more you know.
The same thing with the scoreboard. When you look at a scoreboard, if there's two teams, so Howard versus Kidder, I would be the home team. If it were Kidder versus Howard, Howard would be the home team. And the same thing with the stacked, the team on the bottom is the home team. There you go.
I knew all that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess okay, I'm going to be honest, Kidder. I'm not like a huge, what would be the word, jersey file, maybe. You know, like I have my Colorado Avalanche jersey, but it's not like we've seen, if you've been a longtime viewer of the Triple B, you have seen pretty much every jersey in the Kidder collection, right? And Kidder could probably tell you if they were a home jersey, as the third jersey, or an away jersey, and I'm not that. I kind of like, I got my jersey, I'm good. That's just how I've always been. I've never been a got to collect them all or anything like that. So
I'll try to know. And the same thing is, if they look really cool, I'll try to get one. Because if there are these one-off jerseys, I know that if you don't get a hold of one, you never will.
Yeah, and I don't need to go down that rabbit hole of collecting. I just don't. I collect enough other things.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm here for. I'll waste my money on that and time.
Yeah,
so sad.
Yeah, which yeah,
they go on sale November 15th. If you want to get one, maybe get a Chicago one or a Detroit one. They're basically the same jersey with different text. A couple of the other cool ones just off the top of my head. I don't mind the Dallas Stars one.
I was going to say, Kidder, maybe we'll have to find a night because we have a hard out here. How about this? How about the next time we record, we should rank all of the reverse retro jerseys and put that out as a special.
Okay.
Before they go on sale.
0 to 1. all of them are 0. Avalanche 1. It still sucks, but it's still number 1. There. Good to go.
Yeah, I think we could pull that together.
Shortest bonus episode ever.
We'll put more effort into it than that.
All right. Well, how about something spicy? Let's get a spicy topic. Unless you had more hockey news. You want to talk about more hockey news?
No. And I'm trying to pull up the notes you sent me about this.
The chip challenge. I saw it on here, and I was hoping that you came across a secret stash of a bunch of these chips in a store. Did you happen to find them in the wild again?
I have been so busy I haven't really had a chance to look, but no, Kidder, you had sent me a news story, which is what I'm trying to find, as I can't remember where you sent it to me at. Because sometimes you text me things directly, and sometimes you send it to me over Facebook and all of that. And so there it is. It was a text. Yeah, so we've been talking about this for anybody who's just tuning in now, which if you are, welcome. We've been talking about that here a couple weeks ago. It popped up in the holiday station where I buy my coffee some mornings. The one chip challenge. We talked about possibly doing it on the show. We even got JS Gunslinger to agree to do it on the show, and then they sold out and such. But shortly after that, Kidder sent me this story from CBS Minnesota. Coming out of Edina, Minnesota, several students at an Edina middle school became sick after attempting the viral one-chip challenge on Thursday. The challenge involves eating a tortilla chip made with the extremely hot Carolina Reaper peppers and scorpion peppers, and waiting as long as possible before eating or drinking anything.
Don't do this.
Now, Kidder, I didn't know that was part of this challenge. I kind of figured it was just. I kind of figured it was just survive the chip. You eat it as soon as you swallow it. Here's my milk. No, I didn't know that you had to then sit and suffer. But anyway, yeah. Videos of people doing this challenge are. Videos of people doing this challenge are then shared to TikTok and YouTube. Edina Public Schools, in a statement, said that students at Southview Middle School were treated at the health office and others experienced eye pain after being exposed to chip dust. Several students complained of having a hard time breathing, and an ambulance was called. South Health staff found no one had an severe allergic reaction or was injured as a result of the challenge. The district says that the student who brought the chips to school was disciplined, and any students who attempt the challenge at school in the future will also be disciplined. Officials urged parents to speak with children about the dangers of the challenge, which they say is unsafe and disruptive to student learning. The Minnesota Poison Control Center says that they've received 39 calls about the challenge since the end of 2021. Most of the calls have involved children 16 and younger. So there you go. Yeah, if you are not an adult, you shouldn't do it. And also, if you're going to do it, be prepared. Have some milk handy, have some Tums handy. Because it's probably gonna suck, and don't do this whole wait, thing. That just sounds terrible. So there you go. An update to the chip challenge. We'll still see if we can find one for JS, but haven't been to the other holidays. They're kind of a ways away from me.
The difference with him is, he's looking forward to it. He likes hot stuff. He even grows Carolina Reapers in his garden and puts them in his salsa. So I don't anticipate this to be a problem for him. He got kind of excited when I said, "Hey, there's this really hot chip, and it comes in a package of by itself. It's one chip." And he's like, "Cool." And then I'm like, "Do you want to try it?" He's like, "Yes." Like, you could record it and then, send it to us. He's like, "No, I'll do it on the show." All right. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So still looking for one. We'll see. We'll see if we come across one. But there's your update. So Kidder, I know you consume a lot of media, watching a lot of stuff, and such.
Yeah.
So I see on here, and I figured I'd kick it off to you first here, but
you're kicking.
Yeah. Passing it over to you for our second football reference of the episode. But Kidder, sounds like you've been watching a little Doctor Who.
Well, tomorrow, as in Sunday, October 23rd, is the final episode of Jodie Whittaker's tenure as the Doctor, the 13th Doctor on Doctor Who. It's an episode entitled The Power of the Doctor. I have stayed as much as I can away from the spoilers, because I hate those. The imagery, the little teaser videos and everything. I've tried to stay away from all of it as best I can. So what's it about? I don't know. Who's in it? Jodie Whittaker's in it. The other companions who she's been running around with the past couple seasons are in it. Beyond that, I don't know. How does it end? I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow at 7 o'clock Central Time. Or as you're watching or listening to this, probably on your DVR. Or, go find it on YouTube or something. But after we're done with this episode.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts, your spoiler-free thoughts on it after you've consumed that. But Kidder, I've been watching an interesting short documentary series. It's called The Story Of. It was put on by Vice, and you can find several of these episodes on their YouTube channel. But what it is it's the story of, and it's usually a pop song, and kind of telling this story of how that song came to be. And it's usually something that has kind of become a huge hit. So things like they did Rick Astley and Never Gonna Give You Up. They did Shaggy's It Wasn't Me, the Baha Men's Who Let the Dogs Out, and there's quite a few more, but just some of the more notable ones. And these are really kind of fascinating because it's not necessarily the story of like the band or any of that. They do get some of that in there, but it is really the story of how these songs came to be and how they ended up succeeding. And it's actually been really kind of fascinating. And yeah, I've watched or at least listened through because I kind of had it on in the background, some of this as I was working as such, but just some of these were just so fascinating, things that I wouldn't like normally have cared. Like Who Let the Dogs Out by the Baha Men. It's kind of an annoying song in my opinion. Not one of my favorite, but it's got some interesting kind of history with, you know, the music producer basically willing this thing into existence, finding in a band that's like existed since I think like the 60s or 70s, going, hey, you're going to play this song because it's going to make you a hit, but we got to recruit 3 guys on it who are going to look young and youthful in order to make it a hit. And, you know, and then he gets it produced and nobody will play it. Nobody will touch it. So they start calling baseball teams and whoever's in charge of the sound at the stadium at baseball teams and just keep like, play the song. And it ends up like the official fight song for like 13 different professional baseball teams. And that's what launches it into success. I mean, so it's kind of some unique stories like that. And it's kind of been fun to listen to and to kind of hear some of these. So if you are into music, it's a great thing to go check out. They're short. They're about 13, 14 minutes each. And they're very interesting and very different. And I will also say, Kidder, I will throw this out here as kind of a fun little confession that I never realized. The song It Wasn't Me by Shaggy. I always thought Shaggy was the one kind of with the higher pitched voice who was singing. And that because it's, you know, Shaggy featuring, and I forget the other name. And I always thought that the other name was the guy who had like the heavy Caribbean accent, you know, and such. Nope. I was completely wrong on that one.
Well, shit, I've only been listening to it for 20 years, so whatever.
Listen, it's probably the only song by Shaggy I know, so it's probably the only time I would have ever heard his voice. But I always thought, because that always seemed like, well, that's like the featured voice, right? You know, that's the guy they brought in to make this more interesting. He's not the main vocal. Yeah, so there you go. I learned something.
He was featured, right? Because it wasn't me.
Yeah.
He's the lead singer. Wasn't me.
Yeah, it was very interesting on that one. That one survived, Kidder, purely thanks to terrestrial radio and Napster. As a DJ in Hawaii did not get a official promo disc when the CD came out, so he downloaded it on Napster and started playing it, and it blew up in Hawaii and then spread across the country. So that can be another reason to either love or hate terrestrial radio. You're welcome. So, but I watched that. I highly recommend it. Very good, very interesting. And then I caught one other interesting documentary, Kidder. It's about another internet movement that's out there. It's called Birds Aren't Real. And
they're just robots, right?
Yeah, they're all basically it's a movement that believes that between 1959 and 2001, the U.S. government has systematically eliminated and killed all of the birds, like the natural birds in the sky, and replaced them with drones that are spying on you. When you see birds sitting on power lines, that's them recharging. Yeah, it was an interesting kind of documentary of where the heck this movement came from and some of their beliefs and such, and it was interesting. It was the first time that the creator of the movement ever broke character for a camera interview. So he has seriously for like 5 or 6 years played this character of this guy who believes this and has gone around the country leading demonstrations, and he even tried to get Twitter to change its handle. Or its logo, I should say. So that was an interesting one that I went out there for you if you're looking for something interesting to take in. But besides watching, Kidder, we should talk some video games because I've been playing some.
Well, that's a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
What have you been playing?
So I'm trying to remember which episode. It would have been episode, it's either 82 or 83. I mentioned that I had picked up Mortal Kombat 11 and Injustice 2 in a very sweet deal. Because of that, I never really played through Injustice 1. So Injustice Gods Among Us. And so I thought, I already have it. It was one of the free games with gold 1 month. I'm like, well, hell, let's give it a play. Let's see how it is. And I beat it in 2 nights, Kidder. Like the whole story mode. Yeah. So all 12 chapters. And it was okay. The story itself was interesting. Like it was at least a decent story. I mean, most fighting games, the story is like the weakest part of said fighting game. So the fact that it actually kind of told a cohesive story that made sense why characters were, for the most part, coming into conflict, I'll give it that. There were a couple of spots where I'm like, this seems a little forced, but for the most part, it was all right. The thing that bugged the crap out of me, though, was the responsiveness of the controls on that game. It just was not good. It just always felt sluggish. And so I had probably a bit more difficulty. And again, I'm coming off of Mortal Kombat X, which was a newer game. Injustice originally came out for the 360, so it gives you an idea how old that game is. You know, in Mortal Kombat X, I mean, it's very smooth. You feel like I push a button and my guy punches. This sometimes felt like I was pushing buttons and it was like maybe every third punch was actually going through. So that was a little, but what makes it bad is that in the story, they have these quick time events where, like, a great example is they have Solomon Grundy, no, it's not Solomon Grundy. It's Black Adam is at the end of an alley and he's throwing cars at Superman, and you have to hit the correct button to zap the cars with his laser vision. And with some of these, one thing, they always changed where the button presses. So a little graphic would come up in the corner, press the correct button, so you're then like, okay, where's it going to be? Because sometimes it's, like in the scene itself, sometimes it's just down in the corner. So that was always like moment of panic, like, where the hell's the button? Thing. The particular one with the cars was difficult because until you blasted the one car, you couldn't see the next button. So that was a little, But it was some of the worst animation and such around those quick time events. And just the controls being a bit sluggish wasn't great. So it was okay. Will I play like all of the little star missions that come with it? No. I'm probably done with it. I probably will delete it off the Xbox. So that I have room for other things.
Done.
But the story was all right. It was all right. It at least kept me entertained for 2 nights. So
is that kind of like the Medal of Honor and Battlefield games, where the controls seem super sluggish compared to Call of Duty or other first-person shooter games?
Yeah, it a little bit like that. This just felt like it just wasn't even responding. Like it almost felt like there was a certain rhythm you had to have to really get it to respond and respond well. And if you didn't have it, then you really struggled. So it just didn't feel responsive on a lot of button pushes. So I did a little bit of the tutorial even, and I had one of the combos. It was a simple combo. It was like XYX. must have taken me 40 tries to get it. And it was just to try and get my buttons at the right timing to pull it off. It just so yeah, it was all right. That's it. It can leave my machine now.
There you go. Speaking of what I think you're already going to do or say, but this week, if you pre-ordered Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, you could preload the game and play the campaign a week early. So there are people out there playing the campaign now. They also make it certain features, that is, available only if you play through the campaign for multiplayer, which I'm kind of a fan of, because you have to play the game and actually play the game. But for me, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, I am not purchasing it immediately. I am not purchasing the Vault version or the regular version. I am waiting until Black Friday or Cyber Monday to see if it goes on sale. And if it does, I might pick it up. And I'm leaning on might, because I need to finish Modern Warfare and Battlefield 4 playthrough, but I'm doing that on the hardest difficulty to try and get all the ribbons, which is difficult, by itself. I never played through Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 2042 I need to play through. There's a lot of games that I need to play, and I haven't done that. I've been mostly playing Star Trek Online and just getting, daily progression for the overall campaign rewards, because you get a pretty decent reward out of doing these campaigns, and it's just one mission a day. So 15 minutes out of your day, and then you can forget about it until the next day. And then, after 10 to 20 days, you end up with this reward, and it's claimable on all of your characters on your account, which is also really nice because you don't have to play through that thing 20 times for each character, which would be astronomically stupid. But I happened to ask Rude Boy Kyle and Brother Nico, so you guys picking up MW2? No. I'm glad we're all on the same page. We got the plan. The plan is ready.
It'd be interesting, Kidder, to try and do maybe get the gang together to play a little bit. Now, once Modern Warfare 2 is out, see if all of the hardcore players have left and gone to play the newest and greatest. Maybe we'd have some better matches. A little bit better time. It might also be great to wait till after Christmas to try that, so that people who receive it as a Christmas present, again, we could see probably some of the more toxic players leaving the scene and maybe have a better time. Be an interesting experiment.
Yeah, because, well, you better turn on your Xbox now and start the updates. Because you have an update, by the way.
Probably several. Yeah.
Rude Boy Kyle will have to load it to get all of his shaders loaded. So I'll have to get him on that, and Brother Nico too. So yes, I would like to do that. And I think there's a couple different ways that we could do it. Of course, we can discuss that off the episode of, streaming and screen recording the stream, that sort of thing. It would be fun if we could get the 4 views of it, like a multi-view, and then record that. But we might have to get Tate involved on Twitch to then multi-stream or multicast, multi-host, because, he's a Twitch partner and has all of the special Twitch abilities. And I don't think he has Modern Warfare, but maybe he does. We could form almost an entire team, Howard.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I think, some things that we could possibly look at doing. Because I know you stream on Twitch. Kyle does on occasion. So maybe there's a way to record it, download it off of Twitch, maybe edit it all together. We could look into it. As I said, we have until after Christmas if we're going to do this and do this right. So
we have the technology.
Yeah,
now,
just
can we use it?
We just got to find the time to implement it.
And the time. Yes, that's something else that we don't know if we have time. And I don't know if we have time for anything else, because time is a confluence, ebbs and flows, and wibbly wobbliness.
Yep. And since I have a hard out, Kidder, even though we haven't really talked as long as we normally do, and we're sorry, folks, but hey, at least we made an episode. It's time we wrap this thing up so that I can get back to kid sitting. And
you got something here. I don't know if it's an episode, but it'll get you through something. Is it time?
It's that time, Kidder.
Wrap plugs. Here we go. All right. Well, we talked about our website, but again, just a reminder, it's beerbluesbs.com. beerbluesbs.com. Right there on the website, everything you ever wanted to know about us at the Triple B. Got our bios on there, our info, our contact information, in fact. And what's even more important is the Buy Us a Beer button. Visit us there and buy us a beer, please, and thank you. If you want to buy us a beer or buy us a round, we would really appreciate it, because sharing is caring, and we're always thirsty for more, because, you run out of stylish beverages like this and you go to the fridge looking for something else, and, well, we're out. So help us out by buying us a beer or buying us a round. beerbluesbs.com. You'll see the beer right in the middle of the page. Also, while you're there, visit our merch store. Click the merch button. You can find all kinds of stuff on there, including t-shirts, sweatshirts. There's pictures, pillowcase or pillows, like throw pillows. The pint glasses. What I was trying to think of was the grill apron, kind of like the Kiss the Cook or Kiss the Chef, but much more stylish. All kinds of wonderful things available now at beerbluesbs.com. beerbluesbs.com. While you're there, you can get the links to our YouTube page, Spotify, and much more. Our YouTube video version of this show available every week. So join us and watch the old ones too, because you never know what you missed if you didn't catch one of the episodes. If you go to YouTube, search Beer, Blues, and BS, or on Google Podcasts, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, Stitcher, TuneIn, IMDb, Player FM, and potentially even more. So on your favorite audio service, if you have an account, just search Beer, Blues, and BS and hit the subscribe button. It's absolutely free. We'd love for you to join us on the audio and the video versions. Thumbs up, please. Hit the share button. Sharing is caring. And make sure you smash that sub button. We appreciate it. Trying to get to our required minimum subscribers, so then we can make a $0.25 per view, because we need to make a little bit of money to help keep the show on the air. Why? Why not? Other than that, the Killer Kidder shows on Spotify. You can listen to thousands of great, personally curated tracks just for you, not only in the rock and metal world, but many other songs from every genre out there. Spotify, search the Killer Kidder Show and see it or hear it for yourself. As for that, we're on Instagram and Facebook at Beer Blues BS. Search us, like us, share us. We appreciate it. Even comment. Howard, did you see the post put up yesterday about the pizzas?
I did. I did see it.
It's a throwback to a previous episode, but you know what? I was hungry and I felt like sharing it because that pizza looked damn good. And it was pretty damn good. And you can comment your favorite type of pizza, your favorite location of pizza, all of that. Beer Blues BS on Facebook and Instagram. That's just the latest, just trying to keep you all updated on what's happening with the Triple B. So that's about it for this one. He's Howard Blues. He's got some fancy lighting over there. Good job, Howard.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to do some adjustments, but it's a start.
That's pretty much this entire show to a definition. It's a start. We'll adjust it along the way. He's Howard Blues. I'm the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Kidder. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the best damn podcast on Google Meet. Make sure you join us for the next episode because there's going to be another one. We will punish you with our technological prowess. So thank you for joining us for this one, and hopefully you join us for the next one as well. Make sure your glass is at least half full. There's free beer tomorrow, and we will catch you on down the old dusty Tuscan highway. Have a good one. We'll see you on the next Beer Blues and BS.
All right. We got an episode.
We're over. Damn it, we're over. 5:01.
Yeah.
No wonder we can't be on television. We can't back time worth shit.
That's all right. We'll survive. We'll survive. But I probably got to run.
Okay. Stop that record. Smash the sub button. Do the thing.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty. UA Productions presents A Glimpse Behind the Curtain.
I'm going to spend the whole episode trying to keep my head right here because, it's daylight, so I have a blazing hot window right behind me. So it's like, got to keep the head here, put up a few things to block it, but... Other than that, moved my lights around a little bit.
Yeah? Did you get one of those on sale lights?
Kidder, sometimes you just have to ruin all the fun.
Just one, huh? You got a big space. You need like 20 of them.
Yeah, truthfully, it's kind of far over in the corner because, man, Kidder, I sat here like, race, open it up, put it together because I haven't had time. I'm like, I'll have it up. I'll surprise him with it at some point during the show. No, Kidder's got to ask about it before the show.
Hey,
now it's going to be in behind the curtain.
Maybe. Although, just pretend we didn't do that.
Oh, no. Oh, now it's in there. It's in there. It's...
Oh.